Again, hello, everybody. Super excited to talk to you today about Wikibase.Cloud. I'm Sam. I'm the product manager for the Wikibase ecosystem. I'm joined today by Adam, who is both the tech lead for Wikidata and Wikibase, as well as the creator of a beautiful platform that you might know called WB-Stack. So what is Wikibase.Cloud? It's a new platform that has yet to be launched, which is based on WB-Stack code, but that will be managed and maintained by Wikimedia Deutschland or Wikimedia Germany. This is a Wikibase as a service platform, and it exists to offer open knowledge projects a new way to create their own Wikibase very quickly and very easily. It's more designed for projects that are interested in a quick startup and simplicity, rather than those that are going to need a lot of customization, such as custom integrations, a variety of very specialized extensions and tools, and so on. And as for the status of it currently, we are at the moment getting the platform set up and ready for users. The current anticipated launch date is early 2022, so around January. But if at all possible, our goal is to get that launched for our ecosystem sooner than that. So we will keep you updated on the progress. And now I will hand over to Adam on why we are working with this.
So why on earth are we doing this? So over the years, it's become very apparent that there end up being a lot of skills that are needed to run Wikibase. There's a lot of things involved in the Wikibase and MediaWiki ecosystem as well. Be that initially setting things up, updating things, staying on top of all of these updates and as things continue changing. And also for Wikibase as well, the cost, especially when comparing to something like MediaWiki. MediaWiki you can run on a shared hosting system that costs a couple of dollars a month. With Wikibase, when you also want to have Elasticsearch and you also want to have a query service, the costs can go up quite quickly, which is especially difficult for people that just want to try it out in the first place or have like smaller projects like that. It's really, really noticeable at that end. On to the next slide then. Yes, so Wikibase as a service is a solution to this, or at least some parts of this. It was developed, I forget when now, a few years back, and it's all open source and you can find it on GitHub under the WB-Stack organization. And it combines MediaWiki, Wikibase, BlazeGraph, Sparkle UI, some of the tools like Quick Statements, Cradle, WIDAR, all within one platform. And it all runs on a shared infrastructure, so there's lots of cost savings. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some Wikibases out there, some individual Wikibases, cost far more than the few hundred that exist on WB-Stack at the moment. And also this brings down the effort required to maintain all of these things because there's one set of things to maintain. On to the next slide. Yeah, so hopefully this will really differentiate from just running the Wikibase off yourself because it will be super easy to run out of the box. You'll just have to create an account, click a button, and you can have your Wikibase with all of these things set up straight away. And as Sam said earlier, there's definitely still space for things that requirements that will be outside of the normal use cases to need to run Wikibase yourself as well. Next slide.
Cool, so I think this is where I pick up. How can you keep informed? So the goal of today's very quick lightning talk is to let everyone know that this is something that we are looking at and working on. As opposed to a thing that is out there right now, ready for you to sign up for, ready for you to use. In the interest of full transparency, we're letting you know what our status is and where we are. We are going to be releasing more information about the service, including the launch of a waiting list to answer an earlier question about how you sign up already to be interested in joining before December 1st. So we will get together some kind of nice and GDPR approved way for you to sign up for a waiting list to find out more information and sign up for the service at the point that it launches. Just for the sake of clarity, any future announcements about Wikibase.Cloud are going to be made to the previously existing Wikibase user group mailing list, and we'll also make them to the Wikibase Telegram channel as well. And that is it in terms of content. So we now have 5 minutes for any questions, and we will do our best to answer all of them in the 5 minutes allotted. If there are any questions that you have, burning questions, really important questions that we can't get to today, please email me. My email is here, and we will try to get to an answer in a very timely fashion. Also, the slides that we prepared here, we're going to put into the Etherpad for this session, so you can click on all of the links and see everything firsthand as well.
And so quickly going through some of the questions that I've seen. Will we need, it roughly says this, will we need an invitation to register and create a Wikibase in the cloud? Yes, for now. Will it support federated properties? Yes. WBStack.com already supports the first generation of federated properties right now. How much will it cost to use? That's a
great question. And it is the same question. Right now, the goal is for this to generally, for the average user, not cost anything at all. This is not, for Wikimedia Germany, something that we intend to use as a revenue generator. This is something that we're offering to the community to ensure that open knowledge projects can freely and easily create Wikibases. We'll be continuing to work with the community over the next year or so to figure out what makes sense. Is there some kind of a reasonable avenue for certain really high volume, high resource consuming projects to contribute directly to the funding of the platform? But yeah, the goal is for this to be free.
And then I see, will it allow media? In its first version, it will not allow media, purely because that's not technically even in the WB Stack code just yet. But in the future, I would like for it to allow media.
Another question about WB Stack and the instances that are on there. What will happen to them, and will they be transferred to Wikibase.Cloud?
Yes. So the longer term idea here would be that WBStack.com will at some point stop existing. Don't worry, it's not going to magically disappear and everything explode and you'll lose everything that's on there. There will be like a nice transition for the people that want to be transitioned.
I also saw, I've lost the question now, but somebody asked about the definition of a free knowledge project or free data project. That person
well, that's also a good question, and I think is maybe a definition that we should be working together as a overall community to define. But generally, and you'll see this in the draft strategy for the Wikibase ecosystem that we just shared with you all for your comments, when we are thinking of free and open, when it comes to knowledge, we are thinking of Wikibase instances that can be freely explored and queried, or Wikibase instances that consist of data that has a Creative Commons or compatible license. So we are not necessarily thinking this is the right solution for closed system use cases, so things that are specifically beneficial to one organization, but are Wikibases that will help to create more knowledge for the world at large.
How much longer do we have? Do we have until...
We technically have until 1:15, so we have a few more minutes for questions.
Okay. I see one from Dragon. How will namespace prefixes be figured out? I guess this relates to the query service. Right now, it will be as it is on WBStack.com, where you only have the Wikidata prefixes, which are like WD:. But one of the things that we would want to do is then add, as everyone else that uses Wikibase wants, some other prefixes there for the local Wikibase as well. Where can I find the Telegram group? I hope somebody puts a link in the chat further down.
We can definitely put a link in the Etherpad so that it stays there.
Cool. Thank you so much, George.
There are some other questions. In fact, there are a lot of questions. I think this is the session I've been to with the most questions so far. What will Wiki-Based.Cloud offer more / different from what you offer now?
That's also a good question. So, and I will not speak for Adam, but I will just make a blanket statement, which is WB-Stack right now is a platform that is run as Adam in his capacity as a volunteer, which is a lot of work and responsibility for a single person. Wiki-Based.Cloud will be based on the WB-Stack open source platform, but would be maintained by a full team of engineers at Wikimedia Germany, included in our annual roadmaps, and eventually folded into our broader support capabilities, including our partnerships team and our community communications team. So in the coming year, what we launch will not necessarily be a full end-to-end software as a service platform with all of the guarantees and assurances that potentially an institution might be looking for, although that is what we strive to get to in the next year. But in the short term, you will know that you at least have a team of people who are working on this actively. It is not something that is like heavily burdening a single individual, which, and Adam, if you have anything else to add to that as well.
Yeah, and I think technically and feature-wise, it will have everything that WB-Stack.com currently has. And in fact, it will have more because when WB-Stack.com maybe will remain on whichever MediaWiki and Wiki-Based version it is on now, which I forget what that is. I think it's 1.35, and Wiki-Based.Cloud will start a bit further along than that.
Thank you both. Some more questions for you. How will the scale of Wiki-Based.Cloud compare to WB-Stack? Are there plans to support way bigger wikis than currently?
I think the plan would be to support whatever fits within the scope of whatever the wording was that we used. Sam can remind me.
Open knowledge projects in the ecosystem. I think currently the largest wiki on WB-Stack is 500,000 items.
It was definitely 500,000 items at some point, and it's definitely got bigger, but I don't know off the top of my head where now.
Minimally would be supporting that, but the goal would be that this is a feasible option for organizations that maybe don't have strong customization needs, but that have significant numbers of items and entities, where like being able to put those somewhere that is a reliable and stable place would be beneficial for them and their organization.
And also WB-Stack.com right now doesn't actually have any limits. That's just the biggest wiki base somebody's tried to make there. So yeah.
Another question, what domain / subdomain instances will there be? Are personal domains allowed?
It's not something we've really discussed, but it's already possible on WB-Stack.com, so it should be possible on Wikibase.Cloud.
And one question, I'm going to suggest that this is our last question. If I want to run a Wiki-Based.Cloud, an instance on Wiki-Based.Cloud with 2.7 million items about persons, will that scale?
I don't see why not.
Great.